Hello. Hello and happy Monday, y'all. Happy Monday. Welcome to Monday's Q&A with Susana Alba. I am looking forward to connecting with y'all today. I always look forward to Mondays. There was a season in my life, y'all, where Mondays was not my favorite day of the week. But since starting the Monday Q&A, I sincerely look forward to connecting with y'all, to chatting with y'all, to doing all the things. So, I am looking forward to it. Y'all asked me some really great questions, but in true fashion, we are going to check in. Okay. So tell me if this is your first time catching a live. Tell me where you are watching us from. If this is not your first time, if you've been rocking with your girl for some time, I want you to tell me where you are watching me from, and tell me that you are a part of this tribe. Okay. Hey lashes, yes. There was a lot going on, y'all, prior to this live, but I hope that I look okay. But anyway, if this is your first time catching a live, let me know. Drop a one in the chat if this is your first time catching a live. If this is not your first time catching a live, I want you to drop a three in the chat and tell me where you are joining me from. So if this is your first time, drop a one. And if this is not your first time, drop a three. And hey, friends, we're about to get into business, okay? Because y'all had some really awesome questions for today's live. And I'm really, really excited. So I want to make sure that you can hear me, okay? So if you can hear me well and see me well, I want you to let me know. Uh, I hear you and I see you. If you can hear me well and see me well, I want you to let me know you can hear me and you can see me. Now, my computer is over to my side so like that I can see your responses. For those of you who are dropping ones in the chat, welcome, my friend. I am so excited that you are here. I am the lead career strategist at Dunamis Coaching and Consulting Services. It is an agency that teaches folks how to land six-figure jobs through leadership development and career strategy. And in the midst of this market, we are based out of the US. And in the midst of this market, I am happy to report that that is something that our clients see. So I am so excited. In the chat today is joining me our moderator. Okay, so if you're watching me on IG, our moderator today is Sharice, and Sharice is going to be helping me to answer questions and helping to get to you should I miss a response. Okay, so hey Dallas. Okay, let me see where y'all are from. Y'all are checking in. All right, so hey Dallas. Hey Uganda. Okay, okay. North Carolina. North Carolina, how y'all doing, my loves? UK is in the building. Okay. Malawi is in the house. UK is showing up strong. Minneapolis is in the building. Okay. Our crew is joining. All right. Cool, 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 cool. First time from California, from first time from Boston. Okay, okay. I love it. Okay, Georgia's in the building, Maryland, North Carolina. I love it. Beautiful. All right. Bay Area, California, Colombia is in the house, Toronto, Seattle. I love it. I love that we can use these types of mediums to be able to get connected with in real time with real people because there's a whole lot, okay, happening online, telling you what to do, telling you what not to do, and sometimes it's a whole lot of mess, okay? So we are going to get right into business. So the first question that I got as it relates to work. Okay. And this one is happening a lot for some of y'all. And I'm pretty excited for you. So the question is I got a job offer, but I have an interview for another position. And I want to know what do I do in the in between, okay? And that is my hope for many of you. So some of you have job offers, but you have another interview and you're kind of in the in between, like what do I do? How do I still engage with this company and this organization? Offer one, but I still have an interview at another place. How do I engage and still maintain in conversation? One of the things that I'm going to encourage you to be transparent about when you are going into the interview process is to let them know that you are a hot commodity, that you are actively interviewing and that you're having conversations with other organizations. Now, a lot of people will feel afraid of doing that. Oh, well, what if I tell them and then they drop the offer? Or what if the other company takes a long time? We're going to walk through this together so like that you are prepared. You have to, at the end of your first interview, right? They're going to ask you questions like, can you tell me, do you have any questions for us, right? That's typically how I wrap an interview. I've asked all my questions and I'll ask the candidate, okay, we've reached the end. Are there any interview questions, or are there any questions that you have for me? Not interview questions. Are there any questions that you would have to me? Right. And so in that, at that point is where the candidate should share in full transparency. You can ask them a question. Yes, I do have a question. I'm actively interviewing at other organizations. So I would like to know, where do I fall in the interview process? Where do I fall in the interview process? Okay. Because when you can ask that type of question, it gives you insight into what happens next. And the reason why you want to ask, where do you fall, instead of how quickly will I hear back? You can ask that too. But the reason why you want to ask, where do you fall, is because you could be the first interviewee, or you can be the fifth interviewee. So if you are the first interviewee, you likely are going to be waiting a longer period of time, because I still have other interviewees that I need to work through. So let's assume that I posted a position. I got 10 interviewees that, or 10 candidates that I think are a good shot. I've called in 5. If you are the first one in that process, you still have to wait for me to interview the other 4. That can take some time. So the reason why you want to ask, where do you fall in the process, is for you to be able to identify how much time you have. I don't want you to stop interviewing, but I do want you to level set and make sure that you have real expectations. Because if you don't ask that question, what will happen is that you will feel like the company is ghosting you, when you probably are a really valid candidate. They're just working through how many more candidates they have. Okay. So when you are at the second interview and you're at this place where you're trying to find out, okay, I have another opportunity, or I have another offer, but I'm still really interested in this one, you need to ask, where do I fall in the interview process? Because it's not always ghosting, guys. It really is not. It's just that you might be the second person and I still have 3 other people that I need to interview. That's the first thing. The second thing is that more often than not, interviews are not done one, like with one person making the final decision. It's a combination of folks. So imagine if for some reason you go for on an interview and someone on the interview committee already has like a vacation planned, or life happens and something comes up and they can't continue as they had planned, you will be waiting a little while. So this is why I tell you to ask, where do you fall, instead of immediately going to, they're ghosting me. Okay. Because if you go to immediately, they're ghosting me, then you're always going to work yourself up into thinking that you're not good enough, or you fumbled, or you messed up during the interview. You may have not done anything wrong. Okay. So it's just, you just have to give it some time, and you have to ask the right questions. Don't just be asking questions for the sake of asking. Okay. All right. Next question I got was again related to second interviews. Um, okay, so this person has gone on multiple second interviews. They've made it past the first, they get into the second interview, and they're always the bridesmaid and never the bride, meaning that they choose someone else over this candidate. So if you are going on a second interview and you're finding yourself always getting to that second interview, but you're not necessarily getting the offer, I would have a couple questions for you. How well did you convey yourself to be the solution to the problem? How well can you convey yourself to be the solution to the problem? Okay. I think a lot of times by the second interview, our nerves get the best of us. And we operate from a place of, I'm just going to say what I think they want to hear. And I would much rather you operate from a place of power and impact. Okay. Instead of operating from a place of, I'm just going to say what I think they want to hear. Okay. And the other aspect to that is don't be afraid to ask more clarifying questions. So if you are in a second interview and you're nervous or they've asked you a question and you're not entirely sure what or how to frame your response, don't be afraid to ask for additional context. Okay? Listen, let me just break this down for you because I don't think people talk the way that I do. So you may want to write this down. Content without content without context will lead to contest. Okay? I'm going to say that again because that was blurry. Content without context will lead to contest. I'm going to say it again. Content without context will lead to contest. Meaning, if they ask you a question and you don't have additional context to the situation, to the environment, to the culture, and you just give a response, they are going to contest whether or not they think you are a good candidate for the role. This is why I'm telling you that content without context will lead to contention. So there will be some way of them deciding whether or not candidate A was able to articulate their solution clearer than candidate B. Okay, so content without context leads to contention. So you want to make sure that in your interview, you're asking questions that are going to clarify what the situation is for you. So, like that, you can provide an answer like the authority and the boss that you are. Okay. So, if you got it, I want you to type got it. I'm giving y'all a free coaching session right here. Because I think a lot of the times what happens is, again, we worry about what they're going to perceive, or maybe I shouldn't ask questions. If I am hiring someone, I want you to ask questions. Actually, the more targeted and pointed your questions are, the more it indicates to me that you've done your research. So, content without context will lead to contention. So, you can't operate in fear because if you're afraid, you're not going to ask for additional context. And when you are at the second interview, you're likely meeting with someone who is the final deciding factor or someone who has high influence to make a deciding decision. You need to have context. And context will help you because it'll tell you whether or not this place is worth your time, talent, and attention. So you can't operate out of fear. And I'm going to give you an example. Okay. So we're going to do an example together. Y'all ready? IG, you ready for doing this together? We're going to do this as a team. Instagram, we're live on Instagram, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and on YouTube. So if something goes awry, you can find Susana across those 4 places, okay? But we're going to do an exercise together, and I want you to drop ready in the chat just so that you can see how important it is to have context, okay? So I want you to drop ready in the chat. I'm going to grab some water. I want you to type ready. So like that, I can give you this exercise. All right, I'm seeing ready in the chat. Okay, so we're going to look at 2 individuals. And I'm going to give you just a little information about them. And then I want you to make a decision. Okay? Y'all ready? Here we go. Candidate A arrives to the interview and she drives a minivan. That's all I'm going to tell you. Candidate A arrives to an interview and she drives a minivan. What opinions would you have of candidate A who shows up to the interview, well prepared, but shows up in a minivan? What would you think about candidate A? Also, like, complete sidebar, can we get into this lip, y'all? This is Muse by the Lip Bar, one of my favorite companies. But look, no residue. Y'all see that? I love it. If you are looking for supporting a company that is women owned and just really good, ladies, this is the one. Okay, so y'all are answering the question. She has children. She's a mom. How old you think candidate A is? The one who showed up in the minivan. She needs a big car to carry folks around. Uh-huh. She's a mom. She's a mom. Somebody was like, I'm going to stay neutral. She has transportation. I love it. She has a family and kids. Yep. Yep. She's 35. Okay. Has a side hustle. She has kids that need to participate in extracurricular activities. You see how much information and how much decisions y'all are making over me telling you that a candidate has arrived to the interview in a minivan. You've already told me her age. You've already told me the possibilities of what she has going on outside of this interview or outside of the workplace. You've already told me what her children do. Probably play sports, somebody said, right? So see how you've made decisions based off of very small amounts of information? Very small amounts of information. This is why context is important. Because what if I told you that candidate A, though they arrived in a minivan, they're 24, they just graduated with their master's degree, and they borrowed their parents' vehicle to get to the interview? See how much context that changes now your immediate perception of this individual? This is why you have to ask clarifying questions. Because if it happens in this example, and we're just talking about somebody who showed up to an interview, and this is straight facts. I've interviewed people like that. But you just made a decision on someone. And many of you, and some of you who are hiring managers, I know that someplace in the back of your head, you might have been like, well, if they got kids, like, oh boy, here we go with the kids being sick and because they all because they showed up in a minivan. You see what I mean? Context, highly important. Highly. This is why you have to ask the right questions, not just the questions that you think you see online and everybody's like, oh, you ask these questions. You have to ask the right ones. Okay, let's do this example again with something completely different. So now let's say we have a male candidate who shows up in a mohawk for the interview. What are your perceptions of this individual? They're dressed well. They showed up to the interview. Their hairstyle of choice is a mohawk. What are your perceptions? How old do you think this person is? Where do you think they shop? Because if you could tell me about if you could tell me about the 24-year-old in the minivan, I'm sure you could tell me about the person with the mohawk. All right. So somebody said confidence, loves their haircut. They're in their 20s. He's being himself. Somebody asked, is the company a creative one? It might be, it might not be. Mid to early 20s. He's open-minded, right? Again, context. Because what if I told you that the candidate who showed up with the mohawk is now 35, has more than several degrees, a doctorate at that, and is a genius when it comes to marketing and marketing strategy? And they're not in their 20s. They're actually much older. Again, another very real example from candidates that I've spoken to. From candidates that I've spoken to. This is why my example of what I shared before about content without context leads to contention, because we have been on this live all of maybe 15 minutes, and already you have made decisions or have had preconceived notions about someone without me giving you any context. So, this is why when you are in the second interview, especially during your second interview, you want to ask clarifying questions because you need more context in order to formulate responses that are a good fit for where you want to go. I think a lot of times, if what's happening is that you're getting to the second interview and they're not hiring you, you don't have enough context, or you're not asking the right questions to formulate responses that are based on the work that they're asking you for. So, did this example help? I probably blew some of y'all's minds. But if this example helped you, I want you to drop a 5. If this example helped you, I want you to drop a 5 in the chat, because this is like real deal stuff. These are things that I see on the opposite side of the interview table. Whether it's virtually or it's in person, you need to have context. Okay. And I don't want you, if you're getting to the second interview and you're not getting any offers, it's likely because you don't have enough context to position yourself as an authority or solution to a problem. At the end of the day, when we are hiring, it's because we have a problem and we need you to be the solution. Okay. So you need to be able to ask the right questions. This is why we go live, and this is why I ask you to ask me your questions so like that I can help you. All right. All right. So that was really dope. I'm glad that we were able to do that, because I'm pretty sure, or at least my hope is, that it changed the way that you view the information and the second interview. And it gives you, just again, a different way of you being able to conceptualize your unique value add, your UVA. Okay. All right, so let's get into the next question. How do you effectively communicate with your superior with regards to excessive work priorities in a dwindling resource environment where you have to where you have no authority to hire or reprioritize? I'm going to ask that question again. How do you effectively communicate with your superior with regards to excessive work priorities in a dwindling resource environment where you have no authority to hire or reprioritize? Woo, that was a mouthful. So pretty much, how do you work with how do you work in an environment and with a supervisor who likes to tell you less is more, and I ain't giving you any more, so figure it out? uh I think there's a couple ways that we can address that. Um the first is the first is having a very clear and honest conversation with whoever your superior is. One of the things that I'm going to be teaching at some of the conferences that I'm going to be speaking at is understanding communication styles. One of the biggest complaints that I get from employees and I get from leaders at employees is the communication. Employees don't feel like their leader is communicating well, and the leader feels like they can't, like they've communicated as much as they possibly can and their team is still not getting it. There's a problem there. And it's not the employee always, and it's not always the leader. I think that you just have not taken the time to identify the communication style. Okay. So let's talk about that a little bit more, because what I hear a lot of, we've all heard the popular phrase, do unto others as you would want others to do unto you, right? Everybody's heard that. But what if the way that you do unto others is not received the same way? So let's take into very real consideration that the way that you perceive information is not the same way that your superior will perceive information, because you communicate differently. And so you need to be able to identify, number one, what is your communication style? and do the work to identify what is the communication style of that of my superior. And one of the things that I teach, especially as I'm getting ready to get on the road, we teach the four different type of communication styles. I'm a certified disc person, so I don't want to complicate it too much. But there's the dominant style. There's one who's very influential. There's one who's very stable, and there's another one who's very analytical and critical in their thinking. And so all four, we are made up of all four of those things depending on the situation that we're in. But if you're dealing with a supervisor who is likely making it more difficult, it's likely because they already are feeling the strain from the top down, and now you are the person receiving that. You need to know how to manage up. So, number one, identify what their communication style is. Number two, speak to them in that communication style so that they can understand what it is that you're struggling with. And by the time you have done that, then you've created it to a place where now they can actually listen. They're not just hearing, but they're listening to the issue that you're having. I think what happens amongst workplaces is that there's not enough listening to understand. There's a lot of hearing to respond. So you are articulating that you are overwhelmed, that there's a lot going on, but the person on the other end is hearing you, but they're hearing you to respond, not listening to come up with a solution. And so if you're in that situation where you're dealing with a supervisor who is making it difficult for you to do your job, there's dwindling resources, the environment is toxic, you have no authority and you cannot reprioritize, then invite them into the conversation. Invite them into the conversation. And the way that you would do that, the way that you can invite them into the conversation, man, I wish I had a pen on me, is that I would list out all of the things that I have going on. Okay? So see how I have a list here? I would list out all of the things that I have going on. And then I would call my supervisor or spend just a few minutes because it doesn't have to take a whole long time. I would spend a few minutes with my supervisor and just be like, hey, can we go over this list together? Because these are all the things that I am working on right now. And you're telling me that you have some other things that you want me to pay attention to. So can you help me identify which one of these you want me to start first? More often than not, and I know it's not what you want to hear, but more often than not, your supervisor doesn't know every single task that you are doing. This is why you'll hear me talk about an evidence list and you'll hear me talk about tracking your work. And the reason that I do that is because in environments like this, you need to be able to hold people accountable. You are one individual with the same 8 hours like they have. It is impossible for them to expect for you to do 9 gazillion things without providing you direction. That's the first thing. So you want to be able to tackle that by you being able to bring them into the conversation and say, okay, on a scale from 1 to 10, where does this one fall? Okay, that's a 5. Okay. On a scale from 1 to 10, where does this one fall? Okay, that's a 1. So now I know which one I can focus on a scale. And then don't take it personal. Because here's the other thing. One of the things that I hear a lot of is, well, I don't want to do it that way, or I'd rather do it this way. Baby, I just need you to get the work done. 2 plus 2 is 4. 1 plus 3 is 4. 3 minus 1, 4 minus 1, or 5 minus 1 is 4. Y'all, I can't do math. What else? 10 minus 6 is 4. As long as we get to 4, that's really all I care about. So if you need to prioritize your your list with your boss, you need to have a real conversation and just again, make it easy, list out what the things are and then help them to help you prioritize what are the things that are most important to them. Especially if you're in a place where you feel like you don't have the capability to restructure or hire anyone, okay? Because that's very real. Some of us don't have the hiring capability, but also your boss may not necessarily know that that's what you're struggling with. So you have to be able to articulate where you're at. All right. So, okay. So now somebody else said, I tried that and it didn't work. So here's the flip side to that. So once you have tried that and it doesn't work for you, my next question to you is, what is your next move? Because I could tell you what I think your next move should be, but I'm not you. So, what is your next move? What I think that you should be doing is, since you now have a task list of what you are prioritized and you're not getting the support that you need, I need you to start to identify what are the things on this task list that you have mastered. What are the things on that list that you have mastered? And once you have identified what are the things on that list that you have mastered, now I want you to add those things to your resume. Because if I were to take a peek at your resume, I just may find that you have not added or updated that resume since dinosaurs roamed the earth. I'm in some of y'all's business right now. And I say it with a whole lot of love. But if you are in that environment where you're constantly being asked to do and go above and beyond and all these other things, and you're not doing the work of two and three and four other people, and you're not getting the resources that you need or the support that you need, it might be time for you to assess, is it, do I continue to stay here, or do I look for other employment? Do I continue to stay, or do I look for other employment? And the reason that that becomes so important is because my sisters of color, specifically my ladies of color, if you're melanin, I need you to come up to the front, okay? Come here. Let's get real close and let's talk, okay? Because what happens is that we suffer from the human giver syndrome. I don't got time to break this down. Look it up, okay? GTS, Google that stuff. And the human giver syndrome is that we would much rather take on and take on and take on and take on than ask for help because we don't want to inconvenience anyone. And then we get to a point where we've taken on the load of everybody and their mama. And then when we explode, people are like, where did this come from? Miss Ma'am, may I submit to you that this came from you not articulating your value and you not caring for yourself because you were too busy being nice. I want you to be kind, not nice. And I'm going to just drop that right there. I want you to be kind, not nice. This goes for my brothers too. I want you to be kind and not nice. Why do I want you to be kind and not nice? Because nice will get you looked over. Nice stays quiet. Nice gets passed up for promotions. Nice will stay in an environment that is no longer healthy for you. But because you don't want to burden anyone else, you don't even stop to consider what else is available for you. I want you to be kind. Kind in who is going to have your time, talent, and attention. Kind in being able to articulate your value like the boss that you are. Some of you have more degrees than a thermometer, and you letting people run circles and walk all over you. And I know that this environment is hard, but choose your hard. If it's costing you your peace, it's way too expensive. So I'm sorry if I came for your edges and just snatched off your head, your wig, the whole thing. But I need you to be realistic in what your expectation is. Because then my other question is, how long you gonna let them play with you like this, sis? I mean, can we be real? Y'all weren't expecting that, huh? Y'all weren't expecting it. But I want, like, I don't want you to feel as if you have to stay in that place. Because you know how it stuck. You know who it impacts more than it does the organization? Those who love you the most. Ooh, baby. And I could tell you just in real time. That was my life. I would come home. I Anybody spend like you get out of work and you spend about 20 minutes in your car because you need to decompress. I'm telling you, I'm in some of y'all's business big time. Anybody been in there in that like environment where you're like, I'm just gonna sit here and like mindlessly scroll until I just because I ain't ready. I ain't ready to go into the house. I'm not ready to talk to anybody. Or, or the other aspect of that is that some of y'all, instead of what you do is that you lie to yourself. Okay. And I'm gonna tell you how you lie to yourself. You tell yourself that you just need a glass of wine. And there's nothing wrong with you having a glass of wine, or maybe even two. But by the end of the night, there should be no reason, sis, why you drinking from the wine bottle with a straw, because that's not good for you or your family. And then what happens is that then you're irritable with the people who love you most. And I know that it's just like, oh, Susanna, I just need a little bit to unwind. I just need a little bit to just relax. Every day, every day you need to unwind and relax like that? Friend, I know you know that I'm in your business. And so my question is, how much longer are you going to sit through that? How much longer are you going to put yourself in that position? So if you're in that environment where you are working with a high level of toxicity, where you have made your list and they're like, you've asked for support and you can't get anybody to respond, your next move is to get out of that. And it doesn't always necessarily mean that you have to apply to get out of the company. It just might be that you need to move into a whole different department. The other thing that I tell my clients is that every 3 to 5 years, you should be either graduating, which means moving up, or graduating, which means moving out of the organization, or moving up. Okay. The same way that we treated our scholastic career. Every 3 to 4 years, there was a graduation ceremony or there was a move up ceremony. When was the last time you had your ceremony? Mhm. I'm in y'all's business today, and I'm sorry, but I don't want you to like what we're not gonna do in this tribe is be mediocre. There's already a whole lot of that. If I wanted more mediocre, I would just stay right where I'm at, and so would you. But if you're on this live, it's probably because you're tired of the nonsense, okay? And you're tired of the mediocre. So let's change that. Now look here, in true Susanna fashion. Somebody said tough love at its finest. And I promise I love you. I really do. I really, really do. I enjoy the work that I do. I look forward to connecting with y'all month over month, week over week, because I remember what it was like to be in those types of environments and feeling stuck, as if there was no place that I could go, firstly. Or secondly, feeling like I was the only one who was struggling with this. The reason that I'm so real, which is what I hear the most of, you're so bold, you're so real, because I got tired of playing games. Okay. And I don't want that for you. And I don't care if you just graduated from school or if you're a more seasoned professional. For my seasoned professionals, the questions that I get from y'all the most is, how do I tackle ageism? Show them that you're the solution to the problem. Show them that you're the solution. If you are concerned with ageism, I would wonder, what does your resume say about you? And let me tell you, there are some resumes that I read that I'm like, whoop, yep, I can tell. This is a much more seasoned professional. But those are simple fixes. You know where I can tell? I can tell in your email. I can tell in your resume when you have references available upon request. We don't talk like that anymore. I can tell when you still have experience from 1997 or 1994. I saw one that had experience from 1982. Your resume should 10 years out. That's really all I need. And what happens, especially with my more seasoned professionals, is that what you're trying to do is that you're trying to like have all of your experience on your resume. And really, it's the tease, it's the appetizer. Oh, that was very New York. It's an appetizer so that they can call you in for an interview. Okay. That's what it's about. So give them enough of an appetizer, especially for my more seasoned professionals who are concerned with ageism. Give them a taste because then you can talk about your experience, your expertise, the years behind it. Then you can command a different salary range. But once you are in the interview, once you are in the process, you can do all of that. But baby, sometimes we just doing too much. But yes, appetizer. So listen, if you are on IG, okay, if you comment the word boot camp, I'm hosting, this is probably going to be my last boot camp of the year. I do a resume boot camp almost monthly where we go over your resume. We give you a template so like that you can update your resume in real time. It's a template that I use with my staff, a template that I use for myself, a template that I use with my clients. So if you comment the word boot camp, October 9th, we are going to be hosting the next resume boot camp. Okay. Um, I'm probably not going to do this again. And the reason that I'm not going to do it again is twofold. Firstly, I want to make sure that I'm servicing my audience well. And secondly, I want to make sure that I am not creating a crutch. Okay. So I want to make sure that you have the resources that you need so that you can finish 2024 well. If you are on Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube, I'm going to drop the link for y'all in the comments. And I can't talk and type at the same time. But I just dropped the link for Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. I just dropped it for y'all in the comments. Okay. Um, the boot camp is going to be held on October 9th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And in 2 days, I'm going to be reviewing resumes in real time. So for my more seasoned professionals that are concerned with ageism, this is the boot camp that you want to join because I'm going to break down for you where on your resume you should probably be eliminating some things so that you're not considered as a no fit. Secondly, the resume that you get upon registering, you can implement that resume and use it right away. Right away. Just add your experience to it. It's a very simple format, but the whole idea is that less is more. And you're also going to get the resume workbook where I give you chat GPT prompts, all the things. So like that, if you're going to use AI, you can use AI the right way. Okay. Because I could tell you as a hiring manager, one of the things that really creams my corn and really like burns my grits is when I see candidates who have used AI to write their resume and don't edit their resume. Like you just copy and paste and put it right on your resume. And then you wonder why nobody's calling you back. Baby, because we could tell. Don't nobody talk like that. We can tell. So I'm going to give you the prompts. So like that, you can use it on chat GPT and we can help you. Okay. Because companies are still hiring. I know that to be true because I know that from my clients. My clients are having 2 and 3 interviews at a clip, moving through second and third rounds. One of my most recent clients, I'll give you an example of her. She's having three interviews, one for a chief of staff, one for a vice president of wealth, and like I forget what the third one is. And then I have another candidate of mine who is working with the CEO directly, and she's interviewing with them. So what I'm telling you is not because I just feel good and I just want to tell you stuff. It's because my clients are living this thing out. So I want to make sure that if I can do this for as many people as possible, um, I want to make sure that that it helps y'all because I need you. I'm gonna get into the camera again. I need you to be in a place of influence. I need you. I need you to be in a place of decision. We need you. We need your talent. We need your ability. And I need you to stop operating afraid. And if your resume is what's scaring you, then let's get that out the way. We can work on everything else. But I need you to get in there. You know why? Because what you see me doing online in this moment is not just for me. It's for the legacies of other men and women who are coming after me. Heck, it's for the legacy of my son who is coming after me, who will eventually enter the workforce. And man, oh man, my hope and prayer is that he is prepared and that whoever has the opportunity to lead my son will lead him well. And that just might be you. So, in some aspect, it might sound real selfish, but there's a whole lot of unprepared, unqualified, dumb as a bucket of rocks who are in places that are making decisions that we should be a part of that conversation. So on October 9th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, it's going down. And the first thing that we start with is your resume, because that is the key that unlocks the door. The interviewing part, the negotiation part, that you're going to have to work on. But if I can help you get your resume all the way together, all of my New York accent is coming out today, Jesus. If I can help you get your resume all the way together, then that's what we're going to do. Because one thing about this tribe right here is that we don't chase, we attract. And so we want to attract the right opportunities. Y'all got it? So if you comment the word bootcamp, you'll get the link to be able to register to join us at the bootcamp. Okay? 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And during that boot camp, I will be sharing with you the common like myths and mistakes that I see on resumes. I will be sharing with you places and spaces that lead to bias that you need to be aware of. I'll be reviewing your resumes in real time. I wish I could review all of them. Um, but I'll be reviewing resumes in real time. Oh, my Floridians, my loves, I am praying that this storm would dissipate and go elsewhere. Because Florida, I know y'all need help. And the last thing you need right now is a hurricane. So I am praying. I am praying that the hurricane goes elsewhere. But if life happens and you register for the boot camp and you can't join us live, know that we will have the resume boot camp recorded and you'll have access to the recording. Okay, you'll have access to the recording. The boot camp is on Wednesday, October 9th. You'll have access to the recording until Friday evening at 7 p.m. Okay, so I hope that today was helpful. I hope that you got something valuable. If you got something valuable from today's live, can you drop it in the chat for me? What was your biggest takeaway? Marquita, baby, let join me at the resume at the resume boot camp. Join us. We'll help you with your resume. You are not old, okay? You are not old. So if you got something from today's live, I want you to drop what was your biggest takeaway. Be kind and not nice. I know that's right. Yes, we are kind. We are not nice. Believe in yourself. Find a new job if current place doesn't serve. Yeah. Stop devaluing myself. Context. Yes. Yes. We don't chase, we attract. Absolutely. Absolutely. Content without context leads to contention. 1000%. 1000%. Absolutely. Um, and for those, I just saw a comment that really resonates with me, and it's the last thing that I'm going to address. Um, I am from the Caribbean, and and I'm from New York, and at any given point, my accent will come out, and sometimes it'll come out stronger than other times. And I remember for a long time, I used to hide and I chose not to speak up because I was afraid that my accent would put me into a certain category or that it would make me seem less valuable. I know I can't be the only person who has that same feeling. But what I started to realize is that my accent, my personality, and my realness is what attracted the role and the right opportunities for me. And in the places and spaces that I wanted so desperately to be accepted in, I quickly learned that those places and spaces were not for me. And so now when my accent comes out, it's like, hey, listen, you gonna get this, you gonna get this New Yorker from the Caribbean. And so my accent, instead of becoming my hindrance, became my voice. And my hope is that that would be the truth, that when you walk into this space, that when you join a live, that when you see me in person, that if you attend any of my live workshops, that you would feel seen, valued, and heard and equipped. That's what we want. We want you to be seen, valued, heard, and equipped. So if you are one that worries about your accent, my love, listen, own that. Own that. And then add tax. Okay? Because if you could speak another language, baby, can we talk about the ROI? Okay? So I think you pick up what I'm putting down. So join me. Join me on October 9th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yes, you can join us if you are abroad. We have clients from all over. We've had clients in Germany, we've had clients in Mexico, we've had clients in Angola. Where else? Yeah, so we've had clients in Canada. So join us on October 9th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Comment the word bootcamp on this live on IG. If you're on IG and you comment the word bootcamp, you will get the link to register. So if you comment the word bootcamp on IG, you'll get the link to register. And man, I just pray that this encouraged you, that it answered your questions. And I can't wait to see your beautiful faces and read your resumes and give you just give you some pointers in real time on Wednesday. It's gonna be a good time. To my folks who are dealing with the reality of a hurricane coming your way, trust me that we are praying for y'all. We are covering you guys in prayer, and we're watching anxiously, and praying that things just kind of dissipate. Okay, so I leave empowered. Go be great today. Do amazing things, and I'm gonna see you on Wednesday. Okay, I love y'all. Have the most amazing rest of your day. Bye, everybody. See y'all later. It's been real. It's been fun.